Fuck this game.
Tangerine of Hello Neighbor,
Yeah.
the single player.
Dude, so basically, if you don't know, over the Christmas, Epic Store was doing 12 days of free games, and Hello Neighbor was on there, and it was a game I was interested in playing for the longest time because it had such an interesting premise. Like the idea of your neighbor is doing something in his house. It looks like he's like, kidnapping people.
You go investigate.
You're a kid that needs to break into his house and investigate. But every time you break in, he has an AI that like learns what you do and moves around you. And if you go through the same door, he'll board up windows, or he'll put traps down. Like he literally puts bear traps down to try and stop you. Um,
Yeah. So the premise is still a good idea. It's
yeah,
just
the game is really broken in a lot of ways.
okay.
And also the puzzle design is really bad. I think I was streaming it to my friend, and one of the things he said was it's like a 3D click and point game from like the old Sierra days,
Yeah.
where it's not about being intuitive and figuring out the puzzle based on the information you have. It's like
To
spamming
choose.
interact on
Yeah.
everything until you figure out what's the specific thing that you need to interact with to get to the next part of the puzzle. Like the puzzle design in this game sucks. It's so bad. Like, because recently I like 100%ed Superland, right? And just compared to that game, it's like this puzzles in this game fucking suck. But like the reason I kept playing it was because I like the premise. I love the art style. And
Hmm.
I think like the
It's
idea of a
nice.
stealth horror game where you're a kid breaking into your creepy neighbor's house is pretty cool. Because normally I wouldn't play a game like this, but I didn't find it that like horrifying at all. Like the main protagonist isn't really scary because it's meant to be like a horror stealth game.
Would
Most of my time
would
at the
the
beginning was figuring out how to control the game because none of that gets told to you, and it's a pretty fucking core part of the game. That's another thing that pisses you off. Um,
would you say that the pissing you off and like the glitches and things like brought you out of it? So like anything that was
yes.
suspenseful
I was like,
or scary dissolved
Man,
away.
this section might have been scary if I wasn't so fucking bored by all the bugs that have
Yeah.
happened. Dude, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Most fucking horror games are just poorly disguised puzzle games, and this
Yeah,
is no
that is true.
exception to that rule. This is a buggy, broken puzzle game under the masquerade of a creepy neighbor stealth experience. I really liked. I really, went in with an open mind, and I liked the game in the beginning. But the further you get in, the more I resented the game, pretty much.
What?
Apart from
Okay.
apart from the final section, which I think is a lot better than the rest of the game because they put it out in sections. If
Okay.
you don't know, this game came out in like early access. Go on, what you gonna say?
Right. Okay. So is it technically released now then?
Yeah, I think they've technically released the like a prequel to the game where you learn your neighbor's name is Mr. Peters. So
Right.
yeah, because there's story stuff, and I don't know how much I'm gonna go into that because at some point I'll say spoilers, and then if you care about the story of this game, then you can turn it off and you can experience it
Isn't
for
there a
yourself.
is there a
But
multiplayer version of this
yeah,
as
so
well?
I've played Secret Neighbor, which is the multiplayer
Secret
version,
Neighbor, that was the
with some other guys from the podcast that have been on before, and it's actually an okay experience. It's definitely like kind of buggy. Mr. Peters has a fear of jaywalking. I realized so because he'll never cross the road, so you can like just stand at the other side of the road and just fucking dab on him if you want to, because he's super. He will kidnap kids, but he won't. He will not jaywalk at all. That's one of his. That's
Jaywalking
one of his
is a
number one
crime.
fear. He's a law-abiding. We started coming up. We had more fun coming up with weird theories about what Mr. Peters was doing and his motivations, rather than actually playing the game because it became so mind-numbingly boring, just smashing my head into the wall trying to figure out these puzzles that
So you're
made
just
no
trying to figure
sense.
out at the moment you're just trying to figure out how to get into his house at the moment.
This is the beginning of the game. I've got clips from all over the
Yeah.
game, and I'll skip to them and show you the different acts. There's 4 acts basically, and this is Act One. I'd say Act One is probably the most concise experience, probably one of the best experience because you're new to the game, and this is what they started with. This was like the thing they were showing off. This is the thing they worked on the most, and it works well. You're just a kid trying to break into a neighbor's house and see what's in his basement. But the more grandioso and surreal the game gets, that's when it starts to kind of lose it for me.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Basically, the general idea here is you're looking for keys because he's got a key on his thing, right? I think one of the first keys I grabbed was the keys to his car, and I pulled something out of his trunk. Um, you're supposed to like hold down E to pick up things and place them down. A lot of the time, you can glitch through things with just by climbing up there with boxes. I found some things I was like, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna bug through it because there's no way to do it. I can't figure out how to do it like legit." Um, because at one point I just fucking gave up with this game. Like, I think during Act 3 was the most point I was done with this game, where I was just like, I'm just gonna look up a walkthrough because even following the walkthrough is really fucking hard because of how confusing and broken the game is. Like, I'm literally following a guide that's telling me what to do, and I'm still struggling to do it because of how broken the. Imagine if I didn't have this.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out how to pick things up for like the longest time. And I had
I'm
to like
still.
look in the options to figure it out. I tried to
Yeah.
put a banana peel outside the door to make him slip up. I don't think that does anything. Um, skip
So
it.
you.
Let's skip
Okay.
ahead.
What the hell are you holding now?
Okay, that's the basement. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. It's a torch. Torch. Okay.
I think this is the next section. Hang on. Did I
So
skip a
what?
video?
Well, you're just trying to get into the basement.
Yeah, because basically if you didn't see at the beginning, you're like a bowl rolling down the street. There's a bunch of Mr. Bears, and then you see someone being locked away in his basement, pretty much.
Okay. And then you take it upon yourself to break it.
So, you can like start to climb up his house. You find like this hidden room with like a child's room. You're like, oh, what's going on here? And then you can do stuff like you can move chairs, and that unlocks rooms for you for the next time.
I assume if you get stuck down there, you're stuck though.
No, you can smash through the window. You just throw
Oh,
things
okay.
through it. Like window smashing is one of the main mechanics of the game. You just smash windows, and that alerts the AI, and he like starts running towards it. I've got a key. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm trying to unlock
I'm just
something
very
here.
confused, like what you're trying to accomplish,
I'm trying to get in
like
the
in
basement at
each
the moment.
level. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
But
always confused of how I'm supposed to get to the like some of the things. This is the attic, which there's a fan that does something for some reason. I don't think the fan did anything in the end. It was just like a fucking bait or something. There's a lot of
so it's
stuff in
just
this because there's also like multiple ways to solve the level, or there's meant to be multiple ways to solve the level. But what ends up happening is you start solving three different puzzles, and then you're confused as to what you were supposed to be doing in the first place because of the multiple way. You never sure which way of escaping you were solving because they all kind of merge
yeah.
into one incoherent thing. There's a bunch of like surreal moments as well. Oh, this is eventually getting into his basement. I think the basement itself is actually a lot better than some of the other game. I got the red key and I'm just trying to sneak behind him and open the basement door. I think
Okay. So was there multiple locks on it originally, or was it just one key?
there's just one for Act One. There's more locks
Oh,
for
I see.
further acts because this isn't where
Okay.
the game ends. Do you think, oh, you go into his basement and then you figure shit out and then it's over, right? But then you get into the basement and then you get like kidnapped and then you have to like try and escape from like this fake
Oh,
room down here. And there's like a basement level and stuff. It's pretty creepy down here. I put the radio on. I was listening to jazz. I was having a whale of a time. Um,
so is that like a fake window he's got up there to pretend you're
yeah, and you have to
looking
like knock it
outside?
down. I thought it was kind of cool that that one was like I started throwing things and it fell over. That was kind of a cool puzzle, but it's
Thematically, and
far and
like the
few
premise is
between
so
cool
cool.
puzzles. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is a really cool premise. Basically, there's a couple puzzles to solve in the basement. They're pretty good. The basement section it's not too long. It's like a smaller part of the game. Going through the basement, you have to turn off like this electrical fence. I was trying to figure out how to open it for a while. You basically have to, if you don't want to know this thing, don't listen. But basically you have to turn off the power, and then that opens the electric fence. Oh, okay.
Oh, it didn't get through.
I'll
Yeah,
go into
okay.
this when we get into Act 3, but the game not explaining things to you is a massive problem with this game. I will just. Yeah, I'll go into that in Act 3. There's like mannequins around as well, which are meant to be like spooky mannequin jump
So
scares,
really,
but
there
I
should
don't
be a
know.
tutorial level that just shows you like all the things you
There
interact with,
should
and, like how you interact with them.
okay. So this is the cutscene that ends Act 2. Pretty much. I think this ends Act 1. In the basement. Basically, the neighbor starts chasing you. Um, you then get to this door that has 3 locks on it. What the fuck? I don't have keys for 3 locks. And this is like the moment it's like, oh, creepy neighbor got you. What was I saying before?
Uh,
What did you just say?
I don't know. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh no, okay. I was just saying like it'd be if they had a tutorial level, they just showed you
Mm.
everything you could interact with and like the sort of puzzles you'd be
Yes,
seeing,
that's what I was gonna.
but
Okay,
simplified would be far
if you're
better. Like
looking
you'd
at this
actually
game
be
and
ready for the
thinking,
puzzle.
is this a puzzle game that's
Because I'm
gonna
really
give you
confused right
hints and
now.
stuff? This is the least hand-holdy thing ever. It pretty much it throws you in the middle of it and it gives you absolutely nothing, and you're
Yeah,
expected just to figure things out with nothing, and it's terrible. Because you need more because it's impossible to solve otherwise.
I don't. How do you
Basically,
get out of that room? What? Okay.
basically you get out of the basement and then you go to the neighbor's house, and this is where it gets kind of surreal. He's built a giant wooden wall all around it, and now you have to try and figure out how to get out of his house again. But there's giant wood. I went so if you see there's a trampoline over there, you have to figure out where to open that door. I went with the trampoline escape. I think there's multiple ones. I think I might have even glitched the trampoline escape. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to jump up on the boxes next to it and then jump on the trampoline to escape. That might not have even been the way to do it. But
Not
basically, there's a bunch
intended.
of arbitrary puzzles that you have to figure out somehow by definitely not looking up walkthroughs. Um,
Yeah, it's very confusing.
hmm. But this is I just wanted to I recorded this just to show you how broken the neighbor can get. Like he'll throw like glue and stuff at you to slow you down, but it gets to a point where you can just stare him in the face and just be like, "I'm not scared of you because you're completely bugged out. Oh wait, I have to go up there to solve the story. I need to catch myself to continue playing the game. I have to run into him so I can continue playing the game." But
That's
it's not
kind of dumb.
intimidating to get caught by him, and there's more like surreal sections that go into the story. Like, do you want me to like explain the story to you,
Well, we
or
already had the spoilers. Yeah, might as well.
okay,
I don't want to play this game at this point. So
yeah, okay. So spoil. So this is spoilers for the new game as well, I think, because I looked
okay,
up because the new game goes more into the prequel. Because I think the new game literally came out like 10 days ago. On even like 20 days ago or something. It came out like the 10th of December or something like that. So like 20 days ago or
right,
something. But basically, the story is Mr. Peters. His wife died in a car crash. Um, his son accidentally, or his son killed his daughter in like an accident or something. And then he locks his son in the basement to keep him away from people. It turns out.
right.
So he's kind of doing it to punish his son or to stop him from hurting anyone else. But it doesn't explain why he keeps kidnapping you. I guess you've seen too much, maybe. But I don't
Maybe I
know. He
don't know.
also kidnaps and traumatizes you. So I thought he was going to be a paedophile. I had my paedophile Peters or Peterphile, as he's Mr. Peters. That's what I had
Right.
my money on. Turns out he's
They
not a
could have something
paedophile.
interesting with the motives, couldn't they?
Yeah, they kind of have this weird like story that gets explained to you through like surreal cutscenes and stuff. But it honestly, it's not that interesting.
No, they
There's
could
lots
have
of like
chosen a
pipe
better story.
stuff in this one where you're figuring out how to like turn the heating on and stuff, but it doesn't really seem to go anywhere, at least not from what I was doing. I never figured out how to get into that room. Every time you get caught, you respawn at the basement and it changes the time of day, which is important for Act 3, which never gets explained to you. Um, you're going to be
Just
hearing
have to
that word a
guess.
lot. This is important to you. This is a very important mechanic of the game, but that never gets explained to you, is what you'll be hearing a lot. So this is me. At this point, I was like, I'm going out on this fucking trampoline. Even if I have to climb up on shit and I'm not supposed to be doing this, fuck it, I want to leave on the trampoline.
So you couldn't find the normal way to get to the trampoline, basically.
I think,
So you
well,
just had to
I opened the
glitch
door
it.
to the trampoline, but I wasn't sure whether I
Right,
was supposed to be like just jumping out of it.
right.
But at this point, I was like, fuck, I don't care anymore. I just don't care. I just started climbing up boxes and stuff and jumped on the trampoline.
It's just a weird nighttime look. It kind of looks creepy, but it's also kind of hard to see.
And then finally, I like jumped up onto this shit. This might be the actual way to go, Tony. I don't know. The thing is, right,
It's so
90% of the
glitchy, you
stuff
don't
in
know
the
if it's
game, it's so broken, you can't tell whether you're breaking the game or this is the actual genuine way you are supposed to go out of the game.
but it's not going to jaywalk.
So, that's Act 2. Act 3, you
This is
go in,
okay.
starts with you as an adult. So, you've moved away from the neighborhood now, and you're now an adult, but, and I'm looking around my apartment. You have to pick up a letter. I didn't know this, so I just walked
What?
around looking around my apartment looking for what to do until I had to look it up online. Apparently, a letter came through my door and I didn't see it. But that letter is from the neighbor, maybe, I think. Basically, what you do is you pack your stuff and you go back to the original village or town that you lived in, and it's all run down. And the house you were in is apparently it's an eviction letter. So that's why he goes back to the original town.
What?
Yeah, so that's why you're moving back.
Why would you go back for that?
Because he got evicted. So he has to
Right?
like move out. So he goes back to his original neighborhood. Do you see that the neighbor's house is like burnt down? Apparently it gets burnt down in a fire, and then you go back to your house and it's run down.
Oh my god,
And
okay.
then you go to like back to the neighbor's house, and you see like this strange figure moving around. I feel like the Tangerine's turning into Joe explains the convoluted story of Hello
Well, I
Neighbor.
think you need to. I'm
The
very
thing is, I wouldn't recommend you play this game. I
No,
didn't enjoy it.
I'm just looking at this very confused.
I don't think it's a terrible. The thing is, if I say I don't recommend you playing it, I didn't enjoy it. I don't think it's a terrible game. There's a possibility you might get enjoyment out of this. I
No,
think
but
it's
these
an
puzzles seem
average to below
infuriating.
average game. Yeah. Basically, you decide to go to sleep, have a little kip, and as you're sleeping, Mr. Peters rebuilds his house with another trap in it.
What? I don't, what? I don't understand.
So basically, this is where the game starts to get really surreal and it's more dreamlike.
Right.
Because like basically you wake up, there's a house built. The house doesn't make any sense. There's like a train going around it. There's doors that lead to nowhere. It's a lot more like dreamy and surreal, which I didn't
So
mind like
you're
that
asleep
direction.
right now.
Yeah, but you don't kind of know that, right? Basically, there's a bunch of
The
puzzles in
house
the
with
house. I was here fucking forever trying to figure out what the fuck to do in this house. But there's like 3 locks on the door, and every lock has its own like mini game section that you need to do, and it gives you a new power, which is never explained to you and is really important for the game. I didn't figure it out until I looked into a walkthrough of the game.
Wait, so what have you got to do?
You go to
Just
like
have to.
each key unlocks like a new mini game that you have to do, and then it gets so there's 3 powers. There's like invisibility when you crouch. One gives you the power of double jump, which I wish I knew because that would have been fucking useful because there's a lot of platforming in this with random boxes. And then another one
Yeah.
gives you the ability to fight off the neighbor. So if he catches you, you can like spam spacebar and fight him off. But basically, there's this big confusing house. Talking about mechanics that were never explained to you again, I'm just going to keep saying that. There's also a door in this house that only opens at nighttime, and then there's another one inside that only opens at daytime. Important mechanic, never explained to you. You have to like keep it open with a door and then get caught on purpose to then switch the time of day. It's so complicated, the puzzles, and they just don't make any sense. Okay.
Oh my
How
god,
much
what?
footage? How much footage should I get of the other one? Okay, I don't. I think I. What the fuck did I do? I made. How did I make this? Okay, there we go. So basically, you do those. You do a bunch of puzzles. I don't know. I don't think I recorded that because I spent so long on Act 3 that otherwise it would be like I'd have like 50 gigabytes of
Just
footage.
yeah, it defeats it.
Basically, you do the mini games. There's these weird mini games. One's really fucking confusing because you need to push a shopping cart around while collecting 5 specific pieces of groceries while dodging mannequins. And if you don't get the specific groceries, you have to start again. There's another one where there's a bunch of mannequins in class, and you can only move when the bell rings. Otherwise, this ghost one that travels at the speed of light will get you. And then there's another one
What?
that's like a
Okay.
platforming section, which is where you get the double jump, I guess, which is probably the best one. It's not great, but it's okay. This section, okay, so when you unlock all the keys and you go into it, it gets super surreal after a short little second basement act where the shadow creature's chasing you, and then you wake up in a room and with the giant neighbor watching over you, and you become like this tiny little creature in this giant world, and you kind of have to figure out these puzzles. I like this section more than most of the game. I think this section was better than most. I think they worked on this last because they released it in sections. But the puzzles and stuff in this are actually quite fun because all of it is laid out there for you and
Makes
actually
sense.
makes sense. It actually fucking makes sense. Why couldn't we have more of this in the actual game?
Yeah.
Like I like the surreal sections. I think you could have even done more surreal shit. Like I don't
Well,
know.
to me, they should have made
But
the
like you
puzzles.
get like the fire of the
Oh yeah,
candle,
okay.
and you like I
Yeah,
figured it out myself. I didn't have to look that up. I was like, oh, maybe I can do this, and I could. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
that's intuitive. That makes sense. And then the firework like makes him deaf, and then you have to like shoot him with baseballs and stuff, to stun him. You get inside like the toaster and you shoot yourself up.
Okay.
Like,
I think the normal level should be like easier to understand and do the puzzles, but then had the scary side that you don't want to get caught while doing it.
mm.
This what they should have done with the rest, not a
No,
confusing
getting
mess.
caught doesn't really matter at all in this game, though, because basically you just wake up again with all the items you were holding
Mm.
before, and then he might put some more traps down and you might have repaired some windows, but whatever, it doesn't
So
matter.
the game mechanic itself kind of removes the tension that
Yeah,
a scary
and
neighbor.
also the mechanic of him running into doors and getting stuck. I feel
Yeah,
like this game would have
that's a
been.
feature.
I feel like the game would have been much longer and more tense if the fucking neighbor didn't bug out every second. I got a little bit confused as to what to do. This is why you might see me like, oh wow, I gotta show this off. I was scoring a sweet hoop. I got bored and I just started playing basketball
Oh,
instead. As I'm recording this, I think it's actually like New Year's Eve, like 11 o'clock at night. It's about to be 2020. I was like, ah, fuck it. I'm just gonna play Hello Neighbor.
why would you do that? Oh,
But yeah, basically, you do a bunch of puzzles. You get inside of the house on his back, and then it takes you into this
mm,
section with the missing papers, and this is the final section of the game. Um, so if you look down there on the right, I just went straight into this door, but you see him here. He's putting up missing posters, and he's putting up missing posters for his son and his daughter. But then
yeah.
you see like the shadow of a child. It's like, oh, that's the child he locked in his basement because he has to pretend that his child's missing because he's actually keeping him in his basement, right? But then you have this. This is like the most surreal the game gets because you then have this section where you're trying to protect your childhood self from this giant shadow monster. To like protect yourself from the trauma you experienced at the hands of being kidnapped by Mr. Peters.
Yeah.
That's just a game theory. Is that what that guy says?
Yeah, something along those
Okay.
lines.
I
So you're
guess
trying to
that's
take
just a
traumatic
game
experiences hitting
theory.
you, basically, or but young.
I'm just trying to explain the surrealism and game theories behind Hello Neighbor. Don't play this
Yeah.
game, it sucks. I feel like if I played this game when it was in early access and I played the first level only, I'd be like, yeah, Hello Neighbor's a pretty fun game. Playing the entire thing and it being this broken has made me gone from, oh, oh, cool concept, cool artwork. Oh, stealth. Cool. To fuck this game. It's completely broken. I'm so glad I'm not playing it now.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. Looking at the first act, it looks the most polished, but it still seems infuriating to me.
Mm. Basically, what you have to do, you have to protect your younger self from punches by like shielding him by standing in front of them, which I found out by looking up a speed run of this game. That was the only way I could
Right.
figure out what to do. But basically, as you take punches for the kid, you become bigger and older, I guess, is the symbolism. So you eventually get to a point where you're much bigger and you have to take like different routes to get to him and block the punches.
How would you ever know that?
So
What?
there's like an exit door. I didn't know this, but apparently if you turn around, there's like a house, and you see like Mr. Peters locking his son in the basement, and you see him like struggling with that. I didn't know to turn
Right.
around. I only saw a green door, so I just went into the green door. Um, but yeah, you go through this
That's-
green door. You wake up. You're like, the house is still burnt down. You're like, oh, it was just a dream. And then you unpack the car, and that's the end of the game. These credits just infinitely loop. Just this scene of you closing your door. That is Hello Neighbor. I played the entire thing, and I kind of regret it now. I don't know.
Yeah, I've just cool concept, but I don't want to play it. I'll play.
Mm. I mean, there's the prequel game, which apparently the gameplay of the prequel game is completely different to this game, and it's way more surreal, I think, as well. So maybe people said they didn't
Okay.
like that, so I was like, oh, I'm just not gonna even look at it. I don't want to play it. I had some fun in Secret Neighbor, but I don't think it has like a lot of replayability. That game, like, it's fun playing with friends with like not on Discord and you're talking game.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be more come from Secret Neighbor, but honestly, I'm just not that interested in this game anymore. The story's okay, I guess. Kind of, up to interpretation, but yeah, that's Hello Neighbor. It's not the worst game I've ever played, but it's I I realized as I was playing it, I wasn't having fun. And the level design and the puzzle design sucks and it's buggy and broken. So honestly, I just can't recommend this game. You
I
may want
can't.
to play it,
Even watching
but
you complete the puzzles, I can't actually comprehend them,
yeah,
like in the
they don't.
normal.
There's sections where it's like there's a painting on a wall, but to solve the puzzle, you have to recreate the painting. But to recreate the painting, you need a guitar, and the guitar is locked in a vault. But to get to the vault, you then have to go to a different house of the room, which then has like a key to open. To get to that key, you have to power a generator, and it's like, oh my! But none of it's like tied together in the way I'm explaining it. It's all like knowledge you should somehow know for some reason, but it's never
Yeah.
explained to you. This game should be called you're supposed to know things, but we won't explain that. I
Figure
don't know.
out for yourself,
I feel like I'm
dumbass.
complaining because I feel like people are going to be like, "Oh, you're just complaining because you don't understand." But please play this game for yourself if you think
Yeah,
any
but
of this
here's the
shit is
thing though.
straightforward. It's
If you
so
have to play
fucking
the whole
dumb.
game to understand it, and you don't want to go back and play it, what's the?
Yeah, I guess.
So I guess I could now play the game with all this knowledge, but I don't want to.
But this is why I make Tangerine now because I've just gone on a 30-minute rant about this game. So that's why Tangerine exists. All right,
Why did you
that
record so much of this ending though?
I didn't know. So I didn't know the ending looped. I thought maybe I was waiting for something to happen. The only
You didn't
reason
know
I
it was at
kept
the end.
so you may be like, oh, if you didn't enjoy playing the game, stop playing it. I would have,
Yeah.
but I was streaming it to a friend. So
Yeah.
I wanted to complete it for him because he was at home for the holidays and he didn't have his computer. So I was like, I'll play through this game for my friend. I'm kind of interested in it. The further I got along, I was like, the more I was less and less interested in it. But I was
At
like,
least you
you
weren't
know
doing
what?
this alone though.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
the entire time I'm cracking jokes like, I bet you Mr. Peterson's
Well,
he's a paedophile, 100%.
maybe rant about another thing that we can talk about in the podcast, but
Yeah.
we could put this up for
Sorry, what did you say?
better with friends. This
Better with
game,
Friends award, yeah.
because
Dave,
those awards aren't
I was
completely
talking to
broken.
Vietnam Dave the entire time while playing this, and he said for our podcast for games of the year, we should have worst game of the year that I played,
Yeah.
and I should nominate this game. And I was like, I tend not to dwell on the negative things.
So I don't know why, but I really like dwelling on negative things and like putting it into words why I don't like something.
Yeah,
Because I
I'd
find it
rather
interesting to do that.
I'd rather highlight the good things because honestly, if there's something
That's fair.
if there's something I feel like you shouldn't play, honestly, I'd rather tell you
I
something you
think,
should play instead.
yeah, yeah. I
Like,
think like overall, like
don't play this
you should,
puzzle game. It fucking sucks. Play Superland instead. Superland's a way better
yeah.
game.
I think like focusing on things is good, but I think focusing on negative to fix, I think is
All right,
interesting.
let's end it here. Hello, neighbor.
Tangerine
Tangerine
over.
out.